Hello and welcome to Third Eye Thinkers. I'm your host, Michelle Welch.
Hello, I'm your host, Megan Benanti. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, Michelle, how are you?
I'm here.
She's here. She's functioning. Okay.
You said let's keep it real. So
we are keeping it real, and we are discussing post-holidays. So this is about how to restore yourself. And we all need a little of that after the craziness of holiday time. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your thoughts on that, Michelle?
My thoughts are maybe take a long vacation and skip the whole thing.
And that's actually a
I'm totally
brilliant
serious.
idea. Yeah.
This year, I wish that's what we had done. I think it's really nice to get together with people you love and celebrate things, but I have always struggled with all the, and we've had this on another show where I discussed this, but I've always struggled with all the things that I feel are imposed upon me during the holidays. And I can tell you I'm down to very few of those, but there's just something about the holidays that is just not the healthiest time of year for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know there are a lot of people out there that are the same way.
And I would like to add to that, I do think part of that relates to how old your children are and where you are in that game. Mm-hmm. So, because I have kids that live under my roof that at 14 and 16, but then I also have my stepchildren and my daughter-in-law and my grandson. And so they're old enough that they're taking on different responsibilities now. And what it's required of me is being more flexible with schedule and how we do things. But it's also, it's not all on me. And you have a lot more responsibility thrown your way. And especially when your kids, Michelle's children are out of the house, in college, post-college.
And then I have my children that are in, Roger's children, my stepchildren that are in the house part of the time. Right. So I think part of it also is learning to, even those of you who've gone through a divorce and maybe remarried, and when you're trying to blend that, and for me, it was a 26-year marriage that marriage ended, and so now I have a wonderful marriage with Roger, and we've been married for quite some time now, but it's still every year an adjustment. How do you, and then I had a son get married. So I think that's true for, so he's going to their house, mm-hmm. So it's very, probably true for a lot of people given the divorce rate, which is just a fact, mm-hmm. and blending families. And some people do that better than others.
Yep. Very true. Well, one of the things that I always think is really important post Christmas is cleanup. And I actually one year, even after everybody got their presents and was done, because we celebrate a lot on our big Christmas tends to be on Christmas Eve. And so after Santa had done presents in the morning, man, I wiped that tree out. I was like, I'm done. But I will say we use a live tree. And so when you're purchasing your tree at Thanksgiving, I noticed, like a week or two before Christmas, like the branches were hanging down because I probably have 400 ornaments on there. Right. Everything's like wilted down and it's really brittle and the water doesn't smell very good anymore. So I look forward to taking it all down and getting the house back to normal. And for me, it's sort of critical. Like I want to do it in a day and really be cleared out energetically from that.
I'm that way too with any of the Christmas decorations pretty much the minute it's over, everything's out of the house. Yeah. Yes. And I think that the energetic component is huge. I don't know that everyone really realizes that, but not that leaving your tree up, if let's say you have an artificial tree that's not going to be a fire hazard, not that that's a bad thing if you really enjoy it. But if it's something that you're ready to go ahead and put up because you're looking at that tree every second going, oh no, I've got to put that up. A friend of mine has a tradition that they put the tree, everything up together. Mm-hmm. Just as though you decorate it together. And they commemorate as they're the same way when they're putting it up and clean up, they're talking about where that ornament came from and reminiscing in that way. So that might be something some of the listeners could do to not dread it so much, because they make it kind of a time of laughing and celebrating and picking up, the things in the tree.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, one of the things, I will have the children help me remove all the ornaments, and then I wrap them separately on my own. But with the tree being dead, that energy feels dead to me, and that needs to go out. And I generally get that done before I might even get the ornaments wrapped up. One of the things we always do, and I think that a lot of people do this, is the purging that happens. It's like, okay, we got new wardrobe, let's clean out the old. And so that tends to be kind of a family affair that we all get into, like, let's go through your closets, kids, and, what do we not need anymore? And this year was one, too, where I really felt like holiday stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's either outdated or broken or, it's not really serving a purpose anymore around Christmas. And it's like, okay, what can we let go of in regards to that?
Right. And that's a great way to bring in the new year, to think about the things that we're going to release so that we can bring in the new energy and anything that we are wanting to bring in for that new year.
Absolutely. So true.
Yeah. So what else do you do? I know that you cook a lot, and you had your office party at your house. And I know that you're pretty domestic. I mean, you're a great hostess. So is that pretty much the only party, because that's a big one that you have during the holidays?
It is now. We used to do a lot more. And I actually did reach out to some friends to see if they wanted to come over on Christmas Eve night this year, because we've had to alter for my grandson and stuff. And no one was available, which is fine. But we still were kind of like, well, we could make this work. And it's like, and then I also went through that thing of like, do I take on more stuff? What am I doing to myself? Is this something I really want to do? I used to love and really fed on the energy of being a hostess and pleasing everyone. And I work so much now that I don't actually practice cooking as much as I used to either. So I don't automatically know what I'm going to make. Whereas in the past, it was like, oh yeah, I'll go there and do that. And, everything came together.
Right.
What about you? What energetically, as far as even if it wasn't related to decor, what would you do to clear the house for you between Christmas and New Year's to prepare for the new year?
I think the best thing to do is just to clear out anything that you don't need, if you haven't used it in a year, what did they say, 2? Clothes especially.
Clothes, I say a year.
A year. And but I will say I'm not great at it. I will say that. Roger and we've kind of been in a holding pattern for quite some time of this house that we're in, saying we're not going to be in this house. And I think that's something that and a lot of people, I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that also. I would recommend to not do what we've done. I would recommend to get in a house and make it a home, no matter how long you're going to be there. So if you're going to be there, you think, okay, this is just a house or place we're staying or living for 6 months to a year, and then we're going to find something else. This is temporary. I would recommend settling in as though it's your home. I don't mean necessarily financially. I mean energetically, settling in and really making it your home, because that's each of those days are their time out of your life. So anytime you're just putting your life on hold and saying, when this, then this. So right. When I lose weight, I will go on that beach vacation. When I get my new house, I will have people over. When I clean my house and it looks perfect and I have all the decorations and things I want, I'll have people over. And I just think the older I get, the more I realize that that's not a great way to live. All of the when I do this, then I'll do that. If we could just get rid of that and just live in our moment, I think we'd all be a lot happier.
Yeah. Well, and one great thing to me about hosting over the holidays too was refreshing the house. There's been years where I would paint we have like a splash wall that is a color. And I used to paint that thing all the time. I've gotten kind of lazy in the last few years. I haven't changed it. But I did go out and I got some new throw rugs and, I just really freshened up the place, which needed to be done. And I was kind of putting it off because I don't have, I have, travel angels. I don't have rug angels. Like I have I have 3 dogs. So rugs have very short lives in my home. So I won't spend money on expensive rugs anymore. Mm-hmm. And, but luckily we have lots of affordable places out there that have some really great cheap rugs. And so I kind of fixed up the house, which was good and necessary. Good. Yeah.
Right. So, it is necessary. And I think cleanup of just a lot of things towards the end of the year. Just, again, energetically, it doesn't have to be your home. It can be just anything in your life that you're looking at and it's just not serving you the way, when I use that phrase, it's not serving your highest and best good, then maybe you should take a look at it again and see how you're going to fix that. I don't really believe in... I believe in them because they're real and they're tangible and people do them. New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say I don't believe in them. I just don't practice them so much. I try to do that all year long. If I try to look at things like at the new moons and the full moons, and if things aren't serving me, or there's something else I want to bring into my life, I utilize the new moons and the full moons for those just as much as a new year.
Wow. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Another one I think is good to tackle is the clean out of the fridge. And if people have not done that, you will find yourself like either not eating or you're eating food that could be a little questionable, or you're having to pull it out and sniff it, which is really undesirable. So, I always think it's really good after Christmas to go in, clear that out, put in fresh baking soda if you haven't changed it out, because that should be changed out, pretty regularly. And clean your shelves, wipe any schmutzy stuff off. The freezer is a whole nother one to tackle because you got to turn that off. It's really hard to clean the freezer.
Right.
But I think anything that is related to that purging, and I'm very physical about it, so I attack things like that. I attack corners and cobwebs and all sorts of weird places.
Right.
Oh, baseboards, another one. If your housekeeper doesn't do that, and the little edging, you can get little fuzzies on there, a little dust on there. Nasty. Or if your carpeting goes out of the corner, you can get the little fuzzies in there, and all that has to go. And I will.
Got to go.
Yeah.
That is not gonna stay. That's nasty.
Oh, I even went shopping and saw it. If I see it in the dressing rooms, I will tell people, "Oh, you really need to clean your dust bunnies out there."
That's good.
Because it's yuck. I don't want to change
in
that room.
At SoulTopia when Megan comes.
Well, you don't have dressing rooms, right?
That's right.
Okay,
but
so I wouldn't
restrooms,
notice.
I think.
Oh yeah, restrooms are important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But your restrooms have always been clean.
Yeah, they are clean. Mm-hmm. Our store's clean. In fact, crystals are clean. That's an interesting thing. If you go in crystal stores and you look at their crystals and everything, it's not easy to dust in a crystal store. Okay,
no.
Just so you know.
Yep.
So if it's a crystal store is dusted, which ours are, how often? Probably daily, every other day, if not daily. We have a rotation. It says a lot about those stores if they're clean and dusted. And if you go into a crystal store where it's not, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. A lot of times they aren't clean. Now that you're mentioning that, I was like, you're right. They get really dusty because of all you get the rock dust.
Mm-hmm. They get very dusty. We even have like geodes that we clean inside the geodes to make sure the open crystals, even the big ones, just to make sure that they're energetic. Number one, that they look good and don't have a lot of dust bunnies in them, but that also that they energetically are good. The people, Joaquina, and I'll shout out to them, Joaquina and Selena and Ruben and Kelly and Cassie and Marina, Erica, they're all good, very good at that at our stores at both locations. keeping it really fresh and clean. But that's a really good way, just for those of you listening that are crystal lovers or any type of shop like mine. It's very easy to tell.
That's awesome. And tell me, because I have some of those, some chunky amethysts at home, how do you dust them? Because I've run them under the faucet and it's still like, well, am I really getting it? Or
okay, you can do that. And then there's a spray, like the dry spray that you can use. Roger's actually sitting in the studio, just the gig's up. And we kind of looked at him and we're like, we can't show the whole studio now, Roger, because he's sitting in the studio. But my husband Roger's in here with us, and he actually cleans them a lot. And he was just saying the dry, just like the computer or like
the
what you
keyboard
would do for
cleaner.
the tree, the dry plants. You can use that just to clean them out. You can also wash them out, but then you're still, like you said, you're wondering, is it just going back and more into in there? And then I have seen them use the kind of the feather dusters a little bit, just on a daily basis. They're not every day doing the dry spray in the air just to spray it out.
Okay.
But really, just a lot of people. That's a good question, because and then some of the crystals you can't just soak them in water. Like if you soaked selenite in water for 2 weeks, well, it would dissolve. But if you just wiped it with a little water, it'd be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now they have all these kind of natural-based dusting cloths and that sort of magnetically draw things
Exactly.
out.
That'd be great too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for plants, I like to put them out in the rain because rainwater does not spot on your plants like our water that we drink will leave like white spots. But you can also just wipe them down if you have house plants.
You could do that with the crystals too.
Yeah.
As long as you just remember to, as long as the Mohs is something, the Mohs hardness is that they can be outside and won't, like if you forgot and you left something out for 2 weeks, well, if it kind of disintegrated in the water, if it was raining for several days or a week, wouldn't be good.
Well, and one of the things that I always think is important post-Christmas is, I have, to me, the ending of the frenzy is the cleanup. And that's why I'm like, I got to get this done. I got to get it out of there. But then there is the calm. And I am taking like several days off post-Christmas this year because I needed to really unwind and relax. And I want to commit to the time to my family. Like if I make lunch, even if it's just, grilled cheese, everybody's coming out to hang out with me. And that's like, that's the time that I want. And they're like, thanks, Mom. And, to be appreciated is so important.
Yes.
And it's, it's about the quality of service and time that we have with each other. So, it's very much for me to get back into that Zen mode of things. And so that I'm starting the new year off in a place that's like, I've got peace of mind rather than feeling stressed, which to me has basically been the entire time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So.
Well, and that's honest because that's how a lot of people are. I mean, they really are, because especially those that have the responsibility of doing a lot of the work. There might be probably in a relationship, both people probably have different things that they are responsible for that could be stressful in different ways financially, or both could have those stressors. But I do believe that I guess my thing to say would be to anyone, there are certain things that you have to take on that may be a stressor, but get rid of the things that you don't have to take on, because as life goes on, those things are not going to be as important. As you get older and older, you will realize, and take it from me, that a lot of those things, and I'm not talking to you, Megan, but a lot of listeners, that they think they have to do. They have to go drag their kids to get a picture taken with Santa. Well, usually usually those kids can't stand Santa. That was a horrible thing for me to say, but it's just true. They can't. I mean, they really don't want to go. That's a parent thing. So I'd say just chunk that. There's my controversial thing for the week. How about that? Just chunk Santa.
I will say one thing that we did when my son was little. We went to Neiman Marcus downtown, and Santa there wears mink, red and white mink. It's the most beautiful costume.
So you got in Santa's lap.
Oh yeah, I should have, right?
Yeah.
No, I put my son on there, and he looked a little terrified, but he didn't freak out and cry. But that was the only time because there wasn't a line. any other place you go, it's crazy and insane and your child gets stressed out. And it usually is really rough, and it is for the parents. And so my little sister sent me pictures one year, and her son is like, screaming.
I mean, I think it's kind of cute. To be honest, a friend of mine sent me her pictures, and they were hilarious. But I'm just saying, if there's something truly that you just really don't enjoy doing, just because everybody else says you need to do it, doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah.
There just shouldn't be all these shoulds around the holidays. There really shouldn't be as much stress. Really.
The word should is synonymous with judgment. Yeah. And so it takes on a whole different meaning when you start thinking about it that way.
I mean, really do what you want to do. Go to the services you want to go to. Maybe go to a candlelight service if you want to with your family. They're beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. But maybe something, but let your kids wear a T-shirt if they feel like it. I mean, it's just not that big of a deal. It really isn't, I promise.
Yep. Yeah. So what did you bring for a crystal today?
So I brought 3 crystals working together, and I actually brought a gift for you, Megan, and for Matt, our producer.
Thank you very much.
You're the best.
And so, Matt, if we need to size this for you, or if you want to give it as a gift, re-gift it, it's up to you.
Okay.
It's fine with me. But I brought, I put crystals for easing holiday stress. I guess it's recovery, so I kind of messed that up. But either way.
It's all good.
These are ones we've all gone over before on our podcast. The first is black tourmaline, and black tourmaline is the crystal that will absorb negativity but then transmute it for good, because we know energy has to go somewhere, right? And so it kind of recycles it. It recycles and brings about positivity. So they're great to have on you, great to have at work, great to have beside your front door.
Nice.
For people that walk in who have no clue that's why. And by the way, really, I know we're out of time, but really quickly, a friend of mine said, I bought the black tourmaline for beside my front door and the corners of my home, and my granddaughter got the ones by the front door, and she said, it's a rock. It's not supposed to be inside, and she threw it out the door. And I said, well, we've got more of those.
She transmuted that negativity.
She put that negativity right back where it belonged. And then the blue lace agate is one of my favorite crystals of all time. It is just one of the most soothing crystals. They're a little bit expensive right now. I've explained that before why, because that situation with the mine, that's usually why crystals go up or down in cost. And then, or one of the reasons. And then lepidolite, which the purple one, purple pink, that contains lithium. So that's to calm us down and to relieve that anxiety. And so I'll see, Megan, do you want to hold that one up?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
And hold it where they can see it if you can find. And so there you go. You've got the lepidolite, you've got the black tourmaline is the black, and the blue in the middle is the blue lace agate.
I have to say, these are 3 of my favorites, which is really fascinating that you put them together, because I literally ran across a piece of black tourmaline in a place that was on sale, but it wasn't labeled. And I was like, what is this? I know I want this, but I don't know what it is. And then I always am drawn to blue lace agate, and I've been craving the lepidolite, you call it. Yeah. And I just, so I'm like tickled pink. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is awesome.
You're welcome. What plant or herb did you bring?
So I brought in thyme today, and thyme was pretty interesting. I've gotten a new research book on essential oils too, because of course they're plant-based, and I'm always looking for new nuggets of knowledge that I can really soak up. And we naturally absorb oils, so soak up would be correct. So thyme is one of the oldest dated medicinal plants, and it goes all the way back to the 16th century BC. Even the Egyptians used it back in the embalming process because it has such strong antibacterial properties. And so it's helpful for anti-aging, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiviral, anti-parasitic, and it's highly microbial. So it's your big anti-plant. One of the active ingredients in it is thymol, though. And so they use thymol in like mouthwash and in vapor rubs and stuff. So it is going to help to, it freshens your breath and opens up your chest. And again, it's fighting off the stinky bacteria in there. You can also burn it like you do sage. That can be really helpful as far as purifying the house. You can use it as an essential oil to help overcome fatigue and exhaustion. It's also, though, from like a magical standpoint, they use it to, if you like sleep with it under your pillow, you should sleep better and have more psychic dreams and things like that. And when I was researching some of the medicinal properties, it has 47 phytochemicals and nutrients. That's like a top-notch plant right there. And we think of it, you add thyme in your chicken or turkey or whatever, chops up really well. But, don't be afraid to add it to your smoothies and things like that. It's an all-around super functional plant. Thyme on toast, excellent. You can make thyme butter and things like that, or just sprinkle it on there. It's also helpful if you want to eliminate gas or reduce fever, headaches, or mucus. It lowers cholesterol. It's good for asthma, bronchitis, croup, any kind of respiratory problems. And it's also good if you're having any liver problems. So,
it's like a do-all.
Yeah. Pretty much your cooking herbs are, we think of them from a flavor standpoint, but you really cannot go wrong with improving your body's health by adding herbs to your cooking. So I would love to see people really dive in and fearlessly use these herbs because it makes your food prettier, tastes better, but it's so good for your body.
I think you should post a picture on your Instagram of thyme toast.
Thyme toast. Yeah.
I think that's, or you said toast or toasting time or thyme toast. It sounded like it's catchy. I think we should see that.
It'd be awesome.
How do you do that? Do you just kind of sprinkle it on there, or how does that work?
What I would do is probably, you can either add thyme to the butter and then, or you can butter your toast. I use a toaster oven, not a regular not the slice thing. But I would just put the butter and the thyme on it and then pop it in the toaster. You could also just melt the butter in a pan and kind of toss it with the thyme and let it kind of fry a little bit, and then pour it on your toast after that. Would be good. Add a little extra salt. The image is creeping thyme. There's a lot of different types of thyme. They're great in the garden. One of my favorite ones is called elfin thyme, and it's little tiny, and you can put it in between rocks and stuff. But thyme's pretty hardy. It's evergreen here. It makes a great landscape plant. Has little tiny purple or white blooms on it. So
I look forward to seeing that post.
Yeah. So,
I think it'd
Matt,
be cool.
are we at the end of our time, or do we have time for readings?
You've got about 2 minutes left, so I guess it's kind of up to you about if you want to try to fit one in or not.
Let's do a reading real quick. I think it'll be good for everybody. So, because everybody's kind of getting ready for the new year. One thing I want to would love for people to keep in mind, if you want to post your comments, next week we are going to be doing kind of New Year's readings on the show. So you can post on Facebook, questions that you might have that we can look at answering. It's going to be very interactive. So we're real excited about that. Right. Okay. So I pulled 2 charms.
And we've got the Influence of the Angels Tarot deck. This is available at SoulTopia. It's beautiful. I can vouch for this deck. And so we thought we'd use this for Christmas.
Okay, yeah. So, and then we've got the Hamsa, the hand with the eye in the center. And we've got
that all the time, don't we?
Pegasus. Yes, sorry.
No.
It's got a third eye in the middle of the hand. I think that's probably why we draw it all the time.
Okay, so draw 2.
Okay. We're just going to do 1 card for each.
Oh, just 1.
Yeah. Okay, so for the Hamsa, we got 7 of Pentacles. And for the Pegasus, we have 5 of Swords. And this beautiful deck. Wow.
They really, it's gorgeous.
Okay, so is it okay if I dive in?
Yes.
So for the Hamsa, if that's the charm that you picked today, to me, this is, you're really driven to kind of continually work this week and to finish up things that you really want to see be done before the new year. And it feels like it's going to be more of a push for you, and I don't feel like you're going to be relaxing quite as much, but do know that your rewards will be once the new year rolls in, and then that's when you'll be able to kind of go, okay, I made it. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel the same. To me, it's a beautiful card, and she's looking happy with her results. I mean, she's looking up, but she knows that she's almost there. She's done a good job, and there's a reason that she's worked and put the amount of, maybe not stress, but the amount of work she has into this season. For those of you that drew this one with the hand, I just believe that strongly your efforts are going to pay off. So just begin to relax into that and know that. It's a pretty obvious one to me.
Yeah. Okay, and the other charm is the Pegasus, and this is a very different read. It's 5 of Swords. Both numbers traditionally kind of connect with challenges, 7s and 5s. And what I got from this is that this holiday season might have been a little hard for you, the people that picked the Pegasus, dealing with other people. And even past kind of emotional baggage that they've carried over the years. So, this is a time to find that I'd love to see you focus on forgiveness for yourself and for others, and really think about that emotional let go.
And I would add to that, it's beautiful on this card. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but how the angel is just very large and watching over this whole situation, where it feels like, or you may feel like, there really aren't any winners in this situation. You may feel like, what was the purpose? It's kind of opposite of the first one. It's not like, why did I do all this? What was the purpose? This didn't come out the way I thought it would come out. Just remember that you do have those who love you, your angels, your whatever source or God is to you, and your spirit guides, whoever work with you. And that's what Pegasus to me is representing in this one. And then this big angel looking over the situation, saying, there actually is a much bigger picture. So always remember, when you're down and you're feeling like something's not, like it's hopeless, when you pull back, because I've been there, when you pull back and you try to look at the much bigger picture than just that isolated frame shot or whatever that's called, you will find some hope there.
Yeah. To me, the Pegasus was very much about rising above the situation. And again, connecting with your guardian angels. It's the angel deck. We have an angel here. We have the Pegasus with wings. So that's all very much the angelic realm.
Right.
Cool. All right, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us today. We hope you keep third eye thinking. If you enjoyed today's show, give us a 5-star review, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks to Matt Stoker, our producer, and to Real News Communication Networks for hosting. Y'all have a good week, and we'll see you soon.